Good evening, 7 p.m. Town of Monroe Planning and Zoning Commission, bi-weekly meeting, November 2nd. I'm Acting Commissioner Bruno Maini. We'll do Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
And please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, starting with to my right.
Dominic Smergalino, alternate commissioner.
Ryan Condon, Commissioner.
Leanne Ambrosi, commissioner.
Robert Westland, Commissioner.
Nicole Lupo, alternate commissioner.
Bill Holsworth, staff.
Sarah Stroud, recording secretary.
And my question is, are we going to seat Nicole tonight? Right?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yep. Nicole is seated.
Nicole Lupo will be seated for tonight's meeting. General participation. Anybody in the public that would like to speak on something that's not part of the agenda tonight, please raise your hand. Anybody online? Oh, it's only Sarah and Cindy. So. Nope. All right, beautiful. Public hearings. RAA 2023-10. File number 1033E, 588 Pepper Street. Who's here?
Good evening, members. Good evening, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Kevin Soley. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut, Soley Engineering. Office is located right here in Monroe at 501 Main Street. Mr. Holsworth, can we put the PowerPoint up? So we're here tonight for the continuation of the regulation amendment application to add an additional use, which we're hoping to be allowed via special exception permit in the I-2 district. This is a continuation of hearing 2 meetings ago. And at that hearing, we had our initial introduction where we discussed our proposed regulation amendment, what the intent was. And we got some concerns and feedback regarding the level of detail included in that regulation amendment. So what we have done is we've submitted some revised information to the commission for you to consider. It should be in your packet in front of you. I just want to run through that this evening. One of the things is, one of the big concerns that we would be starting with the definition of the use we're trying to create. We're trying to create a sorting and handling facility as a special exception use within the I-2. Our initial definition was shown above or shown on the top of this slide, a facility for the intake, handling, separation, and exporting of various CT, DEEP defined construction and demolition materials. We provided a revised definition, which adds some additional specificity in terms of both how that's defined and then also some parameters regarding the intake. So the revised definition, sorting and handling facility, a facility for the intake, handling, separation, and exporting of CT, DEEP defined construction and demolition materials as detailed in section 8.2.3.s herein, and classified as a tier 2 facility, limiting the intake to no more than a total of 20 tons per day. As we discussed at the last hearing, this facility definition is really taken from a general permit application that the DEEP establishes for operating of these types of facilities. Within that general permit, and we're going to go through that a little bit, there are a number of different elements that can be imported as part of this facility through this general permit. However, as part of an application, there are specific components you have to provide as part of that application. And there are additional reporting requirements, inspection requirements, and things like that. So I wanted to kind of highlight that because we acknowledged, we're acknowledging the specific material that can be pursued, but also the type of facility. And we said a tier 2, which is really the smallest from a volume standpoint that the DEP allows under this general permit. And just as part of the DEP requirements, they have a registration fee, they require site drawings, professional engineering certification, registrant certification, posting of financial assurances, and a bond. And then they also require an extensive operations and management plan. I wanted to highlight some of those components for this commission just because I wanted you to understand that if planning and zoning were to adopt this regulation and allow for this type of application to come before you, there's, in addition to the town of Monroe zoning ordinances and control, there's also the DEP's control and oversight of this facility. And their operations and management plan, which is included as part of their general permit, these are all the general operating conditions which are established. But I wanted to highlight, there was a lot of discussion and concern about, well, what happens if the operator rents out a dumpster to a customer and that dumpster, or excuse me, they're filling up a dumpster, that dumpster comes back, what if it has material that's not supposed to be in it? And I wanted to kind of talk about, as part of this operations and management plan and the DEP's regulations, there are specific requirements. And onto E9, which says, management of unauthorized and unprocessable recyclables and other solid wastes. So these are the state requirements that would go along with the operation of this facility. And then Section 9 of that operations manual. This has an establishment of how those materials need to be taken in, how they need to be handled and managed. There's an obligation that at least one storage container within the facility be set aside to handle any of those materials. If the materials are observed, there's reporting requirements back to the DEP. They have to separate that, put it in that material. It has to be removed within 2 business days from the facility. And if any materials which may, be asbestos-containing materials or suspected of asbestos-containing materials, there's an obligation that a licensed asbestos inspector evaluate the materials and determine the proper course of action on how these things have to be managed. So in addition to, town's oversight, there's additional state oversight as part of this. And I want to just kind of highlight some of those components so the commission hopefully had a comfort level that these types of facilities are highly regulated and overseen by DEP, and their protections in place to ensure that, the material doesn't come to the site. And if it does, there's properly managed. And then in addition to the language before you, we had previously simply proposed to highlight some of the conditions associated with this facility by just putting a little footnote and listing them on the schedule of permitted uses. We've revised that footnote because, like so many other special exception uses in the zoning regulations, there's section 8.2, 8.2, which establishes supplemental standards for specific uses. What we wanted to do is we wanted to move those criteria into that section. So we're proposing to create 8.2.3S, which would be specific conditions related to a sorting and handling facility. So we captured a lot of the things that we had talked about before, but we added some additional robust components here. So lots must be a minimum of 3 acres in zoned industrial district I2. Operation must occur within a building as defined by these regulations. No outdoor storage of recyclable materials shall be permitted. All of this facility, again, as we discussed at the last hearing, it all has to take place within a building with an enclosed roof and structure. Number 4, maximum building size shall be less than or equal to 20,000 square feet. Again, by only allowing this in a smaller facility and restricting that to a type 2 facility, it really restricts and minimizes the amount of material that can come into a facility like this. So this, again, only allows 20 tons a day. And then number 5, the facility shall be classified as a CTDEP Tier 2 facility, limiting intake to no more than a total of 20 tons per day. And then number 6, we wanted to add some additional specificity in terms of what goes into the general permit with DEP. So this is simply intake, handling, separation, and exporting of CTDEP defined construction and demolition materials shall include the following materials, and we listed explicitly what would be allowed underneath that general permit and what would be permitted by this commission as part of the operation of one of these facilities. Going to just, again, we're showing the revisions we made. So for table 10.1, the schedule for your land uses, again, sorting and handling facility is a new use. It's only allowed to be a special exception permit in the I2 district. And then again, we just struck that superscript number because we wanted to provide that better in the 8.2.3. And then obviously we also established a parking requirement for sorting and handling facilities to be 1 space per 1 employee. A couple other things I wanted to point out, I know there was concerns, obviously, it's like, well, if somebody, if one of their dumpsters goes out to someone, we want to make sure, two things, how do people know not to put something in it that could be not allowed or deleterious? So I wanted to provide for the commission copies of their, customer dumpster use acknowledgement and certification form. I have it up on the screen, but I'll just hand out hard copies. So this is something that their clients will have to fill out and certify and acknowledge that those materials are permitted to be put into the dumpster. Additionally, there's a sticker that goes on all of his dumpsters and that also clearly, summarizes and highlights the rules associated with these types of facilities. So the dumpsters are clearly marked and the customers have to provide a certification that acknowledges what's not permitted and that it can't go in there. Again, we're trying to create an operation that'll provide and be running consistent with not only the zoning regs we have before you, but obviously the rules and regulations established by DEP. And again, so the application before you was simply a regulation amendment to create a mechanism for an application to come forward. As we discussed at the last hearing, we're very much transparent in the reasoning why. We wanted to show you that this is, if this is deemed acceptable to the commission, we would be following up with a formal special exception permit application for this type of facility at 588 Pepper. This is where the existing A&B campus operation exists. This commission may remember they previously approved the construction of a parking lot to the rear of the facility. And our application would simply be to add a building to that plan. And this is where that operation would take place. It's approximately 20,000 square foot building. The operation would take place entirely within an enclosed structure in accordance with the language that we provided. And again, we think this would just be another great opportunity for an existing business owner in the community who has an expanding business to create this opportunity for themselves to service their clients. And with that, I have Arnie Jones from A&B who's here if the commission has any questions, but hopefully what we've provided, certainly tried, we did our best to address the concerns raised at the last meeting.
Awesome. I apologize, I skipped a step. Any new things for this?
No new exhibits. The new exhibits have been distributed to the commission last week, copies of which have been left on the table for you.
Excellent. Questions? Tom?
Yeah, I have a couple questions and concerns. So as far as clarification on who's going to be renting these dumpsters to be filled, it says construction material, so that kind of leads you to think it's just for like building, material and stuff like that, but they could be rented to just homeowners, correct? To get rid of the stuff in their basement, stuff like that?
That's correct.
Okay. So basically, my concern is, I understand we have all these regulations and everything, but, I'm just worried about what's actually going to be put in them. This says there is penalties and fines. But do you have any idea what those penalties and fines are for people that put stuff in the dumpster?
It's, so, Arnie,
So basically, it would be cost of disposal. So whatever my expense would be back onto the customer.
Okay.
So if I was to go to your house and you put 10 5-gallon pails of gas, so whatever it costs me to get rid of that is usually going to be back charged to you.
Okay.
Every dumpster is documented with address, customer signature as Kevin provided with you.
How often does that happen?
Not very often.
Not very often.
No.
well, and that's a great point. So Arnie, you've been operating A&B carting currently. When you send a dumpster out, you pick it up, you have to take it to a facility to be disposed of.
Correct.
All the dumpsters that you brought to that facility, have any of them come back with something that wasn't supposed to be there?
No.
All right. And as far as the trucks that pull these in, they're large triaxles, correct?
Correct.
So how many trucks do you think be coming in and out a day?
My own, so 3 at the max maybe.
How many trips?
3 a day?
Yeah, 3 or 4 a day per truck.
Per truck?
Correct.
So 9 trips.
9 to 12.
Huh?
12.
9 to 12.
Yeah.
So 3 times 3 is 9.
It's basically just gonna be, so basically all I'm using this for is anything that's local. Anything that's really out of town, like if it's coming from New Haven or something like that, it's not gonna be worth it and feasible for me to bring it all the way back to Monroe. So I'm gonna dump at a facility out there. So like for one example, we're doing a large apartment complex and we're taking care of their trash there in New Haven. So they're turning 5, 6 30s a day, but we're taking it right to a facility in New Haven. Because it's not worth trucking it all the way back. It's an hour out, hour back. The time isn't worth it. It's gonna be basically for Monroe, Trumbull use. Just local Newtown.
Well, yeah, that would lead me to my other concern is, trash getting these into these dumpsters and, creating a smell. You have restaurants across the street, can attract rodents.
We're not doing anything with MSW.
No.
Nope, all of it is a C&D and then homeowner stuff. So basically I put it at your house, you throw away furniture, stuff like that.
And my last,
It's all gonna get processed the same day, put in a trailer and taken out. So there's nothing really gonna be stored inside the building besides the equipment. So whatever comes in is getting processed the same day, getting loaded in a trailer, and then it's going out to Pennsylvania.
Is it the same trailer that?
You can't ask any questions.
Oh, Can't talk yet. You gotta wait till the public part.
Okay.
There'll be a public
Yeah,
participation.
we'll give you an opportunity, you just gotta wait for it.
my last concern would be, if we change the zone, then we could have multiple of these facilities opening up, and I think that wouldn't be good for Monroe to have too many. Thank you.
No question.
This is the handling list for Connecticut, right, that you have here?
That's the DEP, yes, for.
So a lot of this stuff he's not gonna do, right?
According to.
According to his chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to include everything that fits under that C and D definition by deep. And that's why we wanted to provide that to you guys to understand what's part of that application process with the state. So, if somebody owns a commercial building that's going through renovation and rents one of his dumpsters, all that stuff can likely come out if I'm, demoing an old, catering facility and there's a carpet that needs to get thrown out and drywall that's getting demolished and.
No, I know, but on his form, he's only gonna take certain things.
His form is an acknowledgement of what they're not allowed to bring in.
Right.
And that's in accordance with the DEP's regulations as well.
Yeah, but it says appliances with PSC Freon.
Correct. So those aren't allowed to be dumped into these types of facilities.
Yeah.
They are on this list.
Right? Is that not this number A?
A,
Letter A, appliances with CFC Freon. We're gonna take that off?
But then his says he doesn't take refrigerator conditionings and appliances.
I don't allow them in a dumpster as
Yeah, so that's why that's the.
So we can certainly strike A from this intake.
So we'll strike A?
The regulations.
we're gonna strike A.
A's gone.
A's gone. Okay.
A's out.
How about tires?
M.
Scrap tires.
You're not supposed to take them.
That's why I say, I know
You
you,
can toss them in, but there'll be a separate dumpster that's gonna take them out to
Yeah, when you find it.
upstate. Yeah, it's gonna be. That's all part of the sorting.
right. And there's one other one in here. I think
But will there be containers full of tires coming in now?
you're not gonna take in any propane tanks with valves or anything like that, no. We need to strike that out of there too. Right? We're gonna take that in there, it's on
R.
R.
You can certainly strike R.
What falls under, I know it's not my term, sorry, Dan.
Wow.
What's under P? What's P considered? Unauthorized and unprocessable waste.
Oh, my question?
Sure did.
So that's kind of a catch-all that deep has. And again, I think since, again, our intent is not to accept those things. So we wanted to start with the list that DEP has. Obviously, hear the concerns from the commission. I think as we're talking now, we can certainly strike some things.
I just don't know what that, but.
This facility right now,
Right.
and so
We're worried about any.
Any facility, and then some stuff that we don't want in here, we don't want here.
Of course.
Right, so
Correct.
that's why we're gonna hash those pieces out.
Yes.
Sure.
What were we talking about?
We said A, we said R.
R.
And then what?
You're gonna take pastors and ballots, so I didn't want to get involved with that.
Unauthorized or
What is that?
yeah, what is that part?
Which one?
P, unauthorized.
I think we can remove that as well.
Okay, okay, we got that going too.
And P, Q, and R.
Are we bringing anything in to Tom?
Matt?
He got his list, I mean, basically, he has it here, right?
Yeah, we're not, so far, we haven't really removed anything.
We haven't, he doesn't take half that stuff anyway, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're.
All right, so
For the
to be clear, from a person that uses dumpsters on a constant basis, just because it says we don't take them,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that stuff doesn't end up in them.
Yeah.
No, I understand that part.
Right, and a lot of times when you say, hey, it just happened to me the other day, that's my dumpster, I only fill it, and then I get there the next day and it's full to the top with stuff, right? So if they're gonna hide something, they're gonna put it at the bottom, put stuff on top of it, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not going through it. That's just me for my company, right? So then that responsibility falls back on the handler. So just because it's on here and it says, we will not take it, you don't want it, of course, nobody wants it. That's why they're throwing it in a dumpster, because nobody wants it.
I'm saying, geez, we're setting up the regulation here, that what happens if somebody decides they want to take in 5 million tires and open up a place where you're taking 5 million tires? It's not
That's what
part
he
of this.
just, but he just said that they're.
That's what I'm saying, we just scrapped that out of there.
Yeah, nobody's arguing with you, we're all
But if
agreeing.
you, okay, but what we have to understand is just because he's not accepting tires doesn't mean that tires will.
No, I'm not saying that they're not gonna
Then
show
that's a
up.
catch-all for everything we.
That's a catch-all for anything that we
Just
do.
saying, but this is.
Bro, you're 100% correct. It's gonna happen, but I have the facilities to address it. So if somebody throws a refrigerator in there, I have the mechanical company, I can get rid of the Freon, and now it's just a piece of metal.
Correct.
So I can take care of that. I can.
No, but I'm just-
But I'm not opening the facility up to be.
Correct.
I'm gonna take refrigerators, and I'm gonna take freezers and bring them all to me. No, that's not what I'm.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, we have to.
you wake up the next day and you go to your job and you look at your dumpster and it's generally not what you put in.
Yes, I totally understand that.
And I think.
Ready for that.
Which is, but again, I'm just being clear so that people
Yeah,
understand
no,
that it's,
And
it's gonna be there.
there's a procedure for it. There are requirements, again, if I point to the operations.
Yeah, I think the dumpster company I use charges like $20 if there's a tire or something.
Correct, it's $20 a tire.
But they pack it in a separate, and those have to go, they go like upstate New York or something like that. I mean, you would know better than
Yeah.
that. It goes somewhere else.
But again, as Leon said, the idea isn't, by striking it, we're preventing the advertising of we'll take tires, you know, and then it's like,
We wanna strike
okay.
it up. We want to
Yeah.
strike some of this stuff off of there so that, that's why I was.
Totally with you guys. I'm just.
No, I was just,
It just
no, I
happened.
just, that's where I was at. Until you jumped in and started saying.
And I jumped in.
But anyway, I'm good for now.
So what are you doing with M?
And they're striking it out. Right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
M.
We got M,
P, R, and A.
Do we define K?
What's K?
What is K?
Thank you.
I think we can probably strike, we can strike K as well.
get all that one.
Strike K as
All
well.
right, Kevin.
Strike K as well.
What is municipal
A,
waste
Yeah,
besides?
solid waste, yeah.
K,
M,
M,
P,
E,
R,
and Q.
and Q.
Fasteners and ballasts.
Missed that.
I'll get rid of that too.
If it is K, is this,
So those are like ballasts or like, light ballasts?
No.
Okay, okay.
Municipal waste.
It's MSW, so it's trash, but it's a larger amount.
Oh, yeah, so that's what you were worried about. with
Like
that.
bulk trash pickup
Yeah.
that the towns out, that's not.
Okay. I'm good for now.
You good?
Rob's next.
So what size dumpsters do you?
I'm last, but I just don't need him to tell me my order, that's all.
What size dumpsters?
I do anywhere from 10 to 40 yards.
Okay. 40's huge.
And, you know, I know you can't definitively answer this question, but on average, when a dumpster comes in, what does it usually, you know, weigh with the contents that you're accustomed to taking in?
Could be anywhere from a ton to 10 ton. Depends on what I'm doing. If someone's demoing a house, it's gonna be way more because they're packing it with an excavator. If it's a homeowner just throwing stuff from their house, it could only weigh 1 ton.
Got it. Just trying to figure out, like, we were talking about before, the possible number of trips. Now, understanding we brought up the state guidelines for the contents, when is the oversight on this as far as on a state level? When and if, is there any oversight by DEP? Do they come out at any particular frequency?
So they come out every quarter.
Yep, there are quarterly inspection reports required, provided by the registrant.
Is it a scheduled inspection or?
No, they also come out for unscheduled inspections as well. So this is, and I didn't bring copies for everybody, but there, there's and I pass around, there's a quarterly solid waste reporting form, which is required for a registrant, and it's pretty in-depth in terms of what comes in, how much, they have to quantify the volume that's come in and substantiate that it's still the tier 2 facility. Source everything. I'll pass this around. Thank you guys to peruse. And I'm going to go through the general permit just to see if I can find the frequency of the unscheduled inspections.
Another question.
And just quarterly, is it?
Those are quarterly reporting that's required to be submitted to the DEP.
After public.
Now, obviously, you're not promoting, perishable waste, but that can happen from time to time with different things that get put in the dumpsters. Is there any rodent control? Is there a plan for rodent control on the property?
There would certainly be vector management plan that we recommend, and I think that can be something, if you want, you can include that as part of the SCP submission requirements.
I think it's a good idea just because, the rodents don't typically stay on that piece of property. I think if I'm a neighbor, it'd probably be of concern to me.
No problem.
And the other concern, I don't know how you get this in there, but I would almost be more comfortable if this acknowledgement certificate here was fortified with some type of monetary amounts for different violations. Because if I'm signing this, it doesn't seem, it's very clear, but it doesn't really hit home as far as what's going to happen if I do put my tires in or the propane tank or whatever.
Okay.
So I think it would be helpful to have some type of itemization as far as what the ramifications would be for violations.
Okay.
People always can identify with costs and costs associated with non-compliance. So if that gets fortified, then I think I'd be a little bit more comfortable. And that's all I have.
Will there be a scale on site to weigh what comes in and out?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And I don't know, I know we're talking regulations right now, but do we have any ideas of operating hours?
Would be from 8 to 4.
I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Hey, Rye, you got another question?
Yeah, we're gonna eventually see a site plan, right?
That would be, the next, if this regulation is approved.
That was your question.
The special exception permit.
And I'm sure you're aware, the heads up would be there'd be concern about left turns going all the way down Pepper Street. So keep that in mind. Of course.
Good. Yeah. Well, my turn. Okay, so the facility holds 40,000 pounds, you said, or is only taking in no more than 40,000 pounds per day?
Right. The general permit is capped with this type of facility. You can't take.
Okay. Are we working on the weekends?
No.
No. So Friday night Friday night we get a X amount come in and we're over the 40,000. What do we do?
It would all be processed before anybody goes home.
Process meaning the tractor trailer shipped,
Go trailer.
loaded and shipped, or just loaded and still on premises?
Depends. I mean, they could usually work, but the drivers could work a weekend if they needed to.
Okay. So there's that.
But everything would be contained within a building and garage doors, so everything would be.
But there is that ability to.
Correct. There is ability to have them work on Saturday and make it run.
Because listen, I get it. Not everything is going to go as planned, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, but we do have, when it comes to trash, there's always a ton of concern. So there are facilities.
20 tons.
Yeah, 20 tons, correct. So my concern is with Nicole's scale question, obviously every can that goes on that scale or the truck and you figure out your weight. I'm just worried about the layover days. And then if we just constantly drop and we say, hey, we only took in 40,000, but I got 65,000 pounds here. How does that get monitored?
Well, I think it'll.
Because that will happen.
I think ultimately it'll get monitored because there'll be a point, the building, with limiting the building size to 20,000 feet, you're only gonna be able to move around in there so much. So I think that just the operation itself and the need to operate.
Yes, but in 20,000 square feet, you could fit a lot of debris in there.
Yeah, but when you look at how the material that comes in has to be sorted,
Yeah, but you can put it inside trucks and stuff.
how it has to be sorted and separated, because in terms of where it goes, I think that'll eat up some room, and there really wouldn't be an opportunity to really have a tremendous amount of intake with no out.
So I have an idea of how the sorting process is gonna go, but it's just an idea from what I've seen from like a Cherry Hills processing and stuff like that. But now granted, they're using a much grander scale than 20,000 square feet. So in your facility, why don't you explain how the processing is gonna go? So this dumpster comes in, a 40-yard dumpster is huge, by the way. That's a big boy.
Yes, it is.
So that's probably one that someone's tearing down a building or whatever.
Correct.
So that comes in, it gets dumped where? Inside?
It's gonna get dumped inside on the tipping floor. Mm-hmm. Then machines are gonna go through it. Guys are gonna pick through, sort out the cardboard and the wood, and then the rest of it's gonna get loaded into a trailer. The other stuff is gonna get loaded by a Bobcat into other dumpsters that's gonna get shipped out.
When the dumpster's full.
When the dumpster's full, then it'll be taken out.
It-
So you're only gonna have two bays that are gonna be for the tipping floor.
For dumping.
And the other 2 or 3 are gonna have dumpsters in them for the sorting.
Okay.
And then on the other end is gonna be where the trailer's gonna go enclosed on the floor, so they can just load it right into the trailer.
So as you can see on this plan, what happens is there's a couple of red bays for intake, and then actually a recessed dock, which would allow for, the intent is to have the top of that trailer to go out at grade with the floor, so it can be pushed into it.
Correct.
And pulled out, pulled up the ramp and then leave the facility.
Excellent. What do you think maximum capacity of the facility would be? Maximum.
Maybe 200 tons, if you were to fill it up from floor to ceiling on just the tipping floor.
That's a lot.
But then you wouldn't be able to move around in there.
Correct.
That would be the building full.
But I'm just trying to give everybody a scale of what you can. And you said weekends, you said you're okay with hauling if need be?
Correct.
B says asphalt roofing shingles residential only. Here's my question. There's plenty of commercial building that have regular residential shingles, asphalt shingles. You're not taking those?
Most of my shingles are gonna go to Stratford, to a shingle dump. I'm not gonna really handle them.
Okay.
Because there's a good rate that I have with the
Yeah.
dump in Stratford, so most of my shingles go there anyway. So it's just gonna be whatever comes out of somebody's dumpster, like cleaning out your house and you throw a couple bundles in there.
I'm good. Anybody else have any questions before I go to the public? Tom?
Yeah, one other question, like, let's say it rains and the dumpsters fill up with water and you're dumping them. Is there a plan for the liquid that comes out of the dumpsters?
Yes. Kevin has a wastewater treatment.
Yeah, we would have, for something like that, we would have floor drains in the facility, and it would actually be separated to go into its own holding tank, rather than going into like the septic system. And then that holding tank would be pumped out as needed.
That's pretty standard with any waste control that we do with any project in town.
Yeah, with any floor drains, we always separate that from the plumbing.
Before I go to the public, any questions? Any other questions before I go to the public? No. All right, let's go to the public. Here's how the public participation is going to work. You will come up, you will say your name, address, and you will address the commission only. You will not address the applicant at all. And if you go, I think we allow like 3-ish minutes, so you can have at it. Is there anybody that would like to participate from public?
Kathleen Halterman,
Kathleen Alderman,
69 Pretty Hill Road, Monroe, Connecticut.
you have the floor.
I wasn't about to comment about this project because,
Well, you can only comment about this project.
I understand, and you pick your battles. I really was just gonna listen to this one, but to be honest with you, I know Monroe needs a facility like Spring Hill dump, because I go there all the time, because Monroe is too cheap to pick up garbage, number one. Number two, our tax dollars are going somewhere else versus what we really need in town, okay? And number three, what he's trying to do sounds very similar to what we have at Spring Hill. The problem is, if I'm not mistaken, Spring Hill is run on state. Am I correct on that?
I'll be honest with you,
You don't know?
I don't know how.
Okay, this sounds like it's private. Now, what is it in, like, for me, I'm looking at it, to me, it sounds a little fishy, just because what does All American Waste do with those big giant dumpsters, which is not even a mile up the road, okay? They take those dumpsters, and I'm sure they go somewhere to Bridgeport, direct. So now he's going to open this big little warehouse, stockpile all this crap, and you're gonna tell me he's gonna separate it with some manpower inside? Think about it. I've done it. My husband, ex-husband is in roofing, taking the shingles. Do you know how heavy they weigh? You're telling me this guy's gonna hire some people to sit there and sort through this crap? It sounds fun. That's all I'm gonna say. Yes, we need a dumping ground, but I don't think one block from Senor Poncho's and a lot of restaurants on that road is gonna cut it. Sorry, no bad ill intent to you at all.
Please do not address.
Sorry, love his
The
idea, bad location. Maybe if he like paired up with the state to do something, or our town to do something bigger, great, but this isn't gonna fly.
Thank you.
And if you do pass it, I think you should let the public know in a larger scale versus just little notices 1 week prior.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public?
Am I right?
Wally Thomas, Booth Hill Road here in Monroe. Actually, Weaver Road, kind of a line. I'm just curious, anytime I see that like a zoning regulation is being proposed to be changed, is that really necessary? Just what I see here and you know, the initial slides that came up, it's like what our current thing is. We have this regulation and it refers to the DEP standards. So why would we turn around and take that regulation and mirror the DEP standards? And then anytime, because you know it's going to happen with the state, something's going to change, and now we're going to be in conflict with them. And you got to come back and change it again. It's already saying, meet the DEP standards. To me, when you do approvals, you do have the ability to put restrictions on those approvals, don't you? So you literally, right at that time, you could say, meet the DEP standards, but no Freon, no propane tanks, you know, no mix. Done. And you didn't have to change a regulation. I don't understand the need to change a whole regulation to set yourself up for having to change it in the future. It's there. Just put a restriction on it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody online that would like to comment on the applicant?
And switch the screen.
I don't see anybody.
Anybody online would like to speak?
I don't see
I think
anybody.
you're good.
And nope, nobody online. The applicant?
Thank you. Again, Kevin Silver for the record, just to provide some clarification from the public. So I think the facility on Spring Hill Road is being referred to the Trumbull Transfer Station. And that is that's a town operated facility, and it is governed and regulated by the DEP, similar to how this would be. It's just a public facility that the town operates versus a private facility. And then regarding the.
Well, nobody from the town can go to his facility, correct?
That's correct. This is also, what we're proposing also isn't open to the public. It again is only open to, would only be operated.
Its own.
A&D part, correct. So, and then the other, obviously I think what we're proposing again from regulation amendment is the ability to create this use in town. So I think what we've done, as part of this discussion this evening, and what we've provided for additional information, I think that actually does provide a lot of the restrictions that we're talking about. So it further restricts what DEP would allow, but it allows for this type of use to be pursued in the town of Monroe, but with those additional constraints that we've identified this evening. So.
Excellent. What do you want to do with this?
I think, I like to think that we've, from what we initially submitted, the application is improved considerably. I appreciate the consideration from the commission and the thoughts and the concerns raised. I think what we've come up with this evening is something that's manageable and it can allow for, our project to move forward. And we think it would be.
You want to close it?
We would. I'd like to close it.
Yeah, could have just said that. Somebody what? Chris works for.
Yeah.
That works.
I know.
Yeah.
Too late. Closed.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm thinking though, Bill, we should probably have this written up for next meeting and not vote on it tonight because there's some changes that we've had made to it.
Okay.
So maybe
You'd like to review it for the 16th? So I'll incorporate with Kevin some of those changes that have been discussed tonight.
right, so
The deletion of the A, the Q, the R, the K, I wrote them all down.
Yep.
The addition of some of the other things that Rob Westland brought up.
you guys okay with that? Commission good with that? Yeah. Good. All right, so write it up as a clean version so that we can just go off of that.
And the rodent control too.
Yes, yeah, well. So that's it for public hearings. C, site development plans and subdivisions, there are none. We have tabled RAA 2023-09 file 1032E, the text amendment. We've tabled that. Are we doing that on the 16th?
We will be having discussions about some of those things on the subcommittee meeting.
Okay.
It's currently scheduled for November 13th.
November
Monday night, November 13th, 5:30 PM, South Wing Conference Table.
November 13th. Subcommittee. Nicole, I wrote it down. Just remind me. So that's tabled. Pending applications, E, deliberations, determinations, pending applications. Do we have any? We don't have anything? Nope. Well done. My pen's dying. Beautiful. New applications? Nope. Meeting minutes? We don't have any?
We have not gotten meeting minutes from.
We've gotten, Okay, meeting minutes. Zoning, planning matters. You have anything, Bill, for us?
All right, you want staff report now?
Or well, whoever wants to do anybody have a zoning or planning matter on the commission? No, nobody? Correspondence? No? Hold on, what?
I got a question to ask.
Well, why don't you do it during commissioners' reports?
Oh, we'll do that. We can get there, yeah.
Commissioners' reports.
You skipped chairman report.
Well, I started at commission reports and then I was going to do a chairman's report.
Yeah.
But since the chairman is not here, we will push the chairman report to next session, which will be on the 14th, the 16th. 16th. Anybody from the commission that has a report?
Yes.
Oh, Leon.
What's going on at Panera Bread? I mean, not Panera Bread, at, gas
Panera's
station,
done.
Noble.
At Noble Gas Station?
Yep.
There is a tenant fit up going on, I believe, for a coffee shop.
For what? Drive-through?
I do not know if it includes a drive-through.
We got it.
I think it does. I think it does because they do have a drive-through window.
Yeah, we approved the drive-through when we originally approved it.
You did?
Yeah, that was the first thing we approved was the gas station with the.
Yeah, that's why it has a wraparound.
Yeah, there was the drive-through in the back and they wouldn't admit what type of coffee shop it was because they didn't know at the time. And
and the only thing that had to come back to us for a second drive-through was Panera. Originally, it was a restaurant without a drive-through, but that original approval, I'm certain had a drive-through because I've been wondering why it never got the drive-through.
So we could also have Bill, we could have Bill.
Yeah,
look
you
that
can
up.
pull the record.
I can verify it.
Can you
I
verify?
couldn't know if that was approved for a drive-through.
Can you shut your light off on your camera? Thank you. Can you just verify that for the 16th, please?
Absolutely.
Anything else, bud?
That's it.
Right? Dom?
Quick comment. So the Chipotle, the dividing fence, you know, the residence that lives next door.
Yes.
I remember we talked about it. It was supposed to be a certain
Height? 6 feet.
it's 6 foot,
I looked at it, Dom, and I think it's 6 feet.
is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Also,
There are plantings that are gonna hopefully grow in over the
yeah.
next few years, but that takes.
the thing that looks weird is the guy said there was gonna be a berm that leveled up, but it humps, it goes up and then it drops back down on the fence. So it just looks a little odd to me.
yeah, I don't know, but there's also plantings that are supposed to go up against the fence. And I don't think I'm guessing they didn't put them in yet, or if they put them in, they haven't grown up. They haven't matured yet?
Most of those screen ones go. They're pretty quick, but.
Yeah.
You still take.
Anybody went out there to inspect that property?
Panera? I mean, Chipotle?
For Chipotle, yeah. Inspections have been done by all town staff. For Chipotle,
Landscaping and
I don't know if landscaping has been completed yet.
It doesn't look like it's done.
It's not the time of year that landscaping usually does get done.
understand that, but I'm thinking about the fence, the height of the fence.
And they haven't come,
On the 16th, can you just get us a report of what inspections have been done on that
the
property?
bond's still out, right?
Yeah, I think the bond is still out.
The other thing is when I.
Well, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Because Dom's not done yet.
Oh, I
that
thought
was
it
it.
was done.
Just want to cut everybody off.
I was just concerned.
It doesn't happen when I rule.
Yeah, you can see the tops of the
He's
houses.
still talking, so he's obviously not done. He's fine. Dom, are you done?
Yes.
Dom's done. Leon, you have another question?
On their plan, it looked like the cul-de-sac was supposed to stay.
Cul-de-sac, yes.
And now it's straight road. And the big goalie there. Is that part of the plan?
I'll have the plans pulled and have them ready for the next meeting.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Rob? Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I had some comments about the driveway for the new Dunkin' Donuts and the lanes that they made to exit. Seems very short and good opportunity for some head-on collisions. So could you pull the plans that we approved for the parking and for the lines for next meeting?
Absolutely. Duncan,
Thank you. Duncan.
395 Monroe Turnpike.
Yeah.
Commissioners, anybody else? Staff?
So
What you got for us, buddy?
at the last commission meeting, extensions were asked for 3 properties. And each one, the commission asked me for the reasons. I told you I'd get back to you, so let me get back to you. 127 Main Street, there was a delayed delivery of finalized plans coming from Florida from the property owner. Plans did come in. They were filed on town land records. 6 copies will be made and will be available for you. 846 Main Street, they're finalizing architectural renderings, details with the client. So that's why that extension was requested. For 205 Monroe Turnpike, plans have been delivered. Staff was under review, but staff has not gotten back yet to the engineering firm. So they asked for an extension, awaiting staff comments on their plans. In regards to other projects that'll be coming up, the acquisition of the St. Jude's facility had been approved through the town meeting. This commission should expect an application to come before them for a subdivision for that property, for that parcel. But with that, it'll also have to go to ZBA for a variance for lot coverage area size. And we'll also have to get a referral from Inland Wetlands Commission for you to review that. And then there were 2 complaints that have come in. One on 120. One more time?
Sorry to do it.
125 Garter Road, received a complaint, work being done outside of the 8 AM to 5 PM timeframes.
That's the Grosso project?
That is the Grasso project. It is the subdivision of the 4 building lots.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking into these complaints. Another complaint came in on the 1565 Monroe Turnpike, the Zetopia property. They were provided a permit for a haunted house for Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. They also held a concert with a beer garden on Friday and Saturday that was promoted. And we got a noise complaint, and that's how we found out about it. So we're looking further into that.
That permit for the beer garden.
I am looking into that. It was not signed by anybody that I'm aware of.
I heard the complaints too from a couple of people about that.
We're looking into where that beer
Noise?
permit came from,
Noise complaint, and that they had this beer garden.
which had to have been pulled, I believe, by a 501c3 nonprofit. And I just have to find out who pulled that permit.
Was there a permit pulled for it?
Not from me, it wasn't.
Oh, then find out.
I'm working on finding out.
But, whatchamacallit was here before you. Young man's name.
Dylan?
He might have happened with him.
I don't know, but I believe a permit of that type of caliber would be signed by somebody much more senior. I would anticipate PD would have to at least see it.
For sure.
I would anticipate for a selectman perhaps as well, but I don't know if anybody signed it. I don't know where it came from or how a permit was issued. I'm still looking into it.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
Those are the big ones.
You don't want to go over the little ones?
No.
There are no little ones.
So then, that's it. Beautiful. Motion? We have Leon with a motion, Nicole with a second. What time do we have? 7:52. All in favor? Aye. 7:52. We are done.